The college football experience, Ohio Bobcats 2024 season preview episode. The Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. They just introduced college football best ball, folks. Hop on over there. Underdog Fantasy with the promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Ohio Bobcats 2024 season preview episode. Yes, the Ohio Bobcats, just been a good staple of winning in the MAC or in the mid-major range for a long time, really. Excited to talk Ohio Bobcat football because even though the transfer portal seems a bit crazy with this team, Tim Albin's a good football coach. I'm excited to see what he can do with this year's team. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
I mean, who doesn't love Maction? All this conference realignment shit. Maction says, "You soulless mothers." All right.
They are picking up UMass next year, but
that is true. but that's an old member. So they're like, okay, you can come back in. We're not going to step out of our world, but we still know the flight route. We got everything planned out. I am joined by my co-host, and look, in case you're wondering, Mac fans, we have specific episodes covering Maction when they do the weeknights, but also tons of DFS episodes where you can cash in there. Give it up for the DFS god himself, the rooftop IPA drinking, home brew making, tobacco road living, up free lot giving, former in the West League MVP. Give it up, Red Sea Nick, ain't the place to be. How are you?
There we go. What's going on, man?
Maction, all right. Maction. This is your squad. You're still on that season ticket waiting list.
I was gonna say, man, not only do I love some Maction, but my team in the MAC is definitely the Ohio Bobcats. So I'm excited about this year. There's going to be some challenges. We're going to talk about those challenges. But this is a team that has been towards the top of the conference for the last 15, 20 years, almost every season.
Yeah, it's almost fascinating that they haven't won a conference title in a very long time. But first off, this is a legendary, to me, like this is just classic college football program.
They've been playing it's small town college football. That's what it is.
They've been playing since the 1800s, man. They have Peden Stadium. If you haven't checked out Peden Stadium, folks, is one of the greatest stadiums, I think, one of the more underrated stadiums when it comes to college football in America. They have a national championship back in 1960. All right. I mean, it's just they're everything that's right about college football. If I may speak, the Ohio Bobcats, classic stadium. They haven't sold out and gone to some some stadium outside of that. They have like a Lambeau Field type of feel within the MAC, because that's the only classic stadium left in the NFL, I feel like. But this is a program that wins a lot of games too, man. Where are you at with Tim Albin? Because he's been coaching here. Here's another thing that I love. He has been with this program since what? I think it was 2000. Let me just quickly, I think it was 2006. Was it that he
2005 to be exact?
2005. Yeah. I mean, love the continuity here. He coached with Frank Solich. And look, and what do you think about potentially going back to that mascot from the 1950s there?
I don't know about that one. That one looks like a stray cat.
Tim Albin, though, is 23-16. And I want to just hit on that for a second, because I kind of think he's better than 23-16. Remember his first year, he ends up going 3-9. Because he finds out he's going to be the head coach like 2 weeks before the season, right?
Right.
So
Frank Zolich retired,
health problems, something.
Issues. Yeah. So that was a very tough season. So you kind of don't even count that one. So you're right. His record, in the 2 years that followed, 10-4 and 10-3. Not too shabby.
He also won a national championship at the NAIA level, Northwestern Oklahoma State, 13-0 in 99. And, he was part of the North Dakota State staff that got things running with Craig Bowl. He was also with Frank Solich at Nebraska, and they were playing for national championships. Nebraska would die for that these days. That's why I don't know that we should panic about the portal so much, because I think, and now they lost their defensive coordinator. He headed out to Memphis. But here's what I like too. So their OC is Brian Smith, right? Who's been with the program, for a while as well too. But John Hauser coming in, and old Hauser playing both sides of the fence. He comes over from the Miami, Ohio Redhawks there. Ooh. The rivals, Battle of the Bricks, great rivalry. Interesting. He was a DB's coach, so it is like a
promotion.
Yeah. I think, he was co-DC, I think. Now he's the sole DC, but I kind of think Tim Albin, underrated coach, right?
I think it's a good coach. Yeah. Can he find a way to retain some of his talent? I know it's a challenge for any school at the G5 level, but man, they got absolutely obliterated in the portal this year. Obviously they're not going to have very deep pockets, because a lot of the people that left went to big time programs. But you would hope that maybe a few of them stayed just because they have that relationship with the coach, or maybe they can get the NIL going a little bit. I've been to Athens, Ohio. It's not exactly a booming metropolis. So they're going to have those challenges, but all in all, I think he's a very good coach. And whenever you win, back-to-back seasons, winning 10 games, I think that proves it.
And that season where he opened up, 3-9, that's their only losing season in the past 15 years.
Right. So Frank Solich only had two losing seasons in his first 4 years. So that's why, this program has been very good. So yeah, some people might see, all the players that departed this year and oh man, this is really going to put them back. But I would say not so fast, because this program has done it year in, year out, regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah. Shout out to the chat. Luigi in here saying, "Maction, baby, let's go." He's a Bowling Green Falcon fan. Kay in the chat saying, "We live, baby. What's up, Colby and Nick?" There we go. What's up, Kay? And Elaine Gretzky saying, "My guys got you on at work. I'm loving all the college football previews. Best college football talk on the internet." And Kay agreeing with that, saying, "Love these guys. Top tier." It's the first time I've ever been called top tier in my life.
Top shelf.
There we go.
More familiar with that.
Yeah.
Well,
I
really.
am more familiar with that. Well, from when I was bartending.
I'm more of a rail guy.
Folks, want to tell you that you're listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Right now, the SGPN merch store, is 10% off everything with the promo code football. You want to get yourself a Pick Dundee t-shirt, get all over there. We also got, the Mike Leach t-shirt. Shout out, rest in peace to the great Mike Leach, good friend of ours. And I mean, there's a slew. You can get a CJ Sullivan Bet Detective T-shirt. You can get Eat Shit Pit T-shirt for the West Virginia fans. Just check it out. There's a lot of good stuff over there. One of my new favorite ones is some snorkel and some scuba dive. All right. So go check out that. It's got a great graphic with it. Plus, college football kicks off this week. Yes, tune into the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Football Experience for Week 0 picks and all your favorite futures. All right, we are back talking. Now, that's another thing, man, is like this program just, not only do they play at a classic stadium and they haven't altered their uniforms in forever, right? It's just, they're perfect. Like, this is why college football is great to me. They have also
small town college football. Like I say, I mean, it's a beautiful campus. The little downtown area is all you want from a small town. Yeah, it's a very cozy feel. I like it.
Dude, and this is a school that like they've got winning traditions. You know what I mean? Bill Hess won a Tangerine Bowl in 10-1 season in '68. They went to the Sun Bowl in '62. Jim Grobe. This is where Jim Grobe got his start, man, and had a bunch of winning seasons there. And then he went to Wake Forest. But people might forget his offensive coordinator was a guy named Troy Calhoun who wins a ton over there at Air Force. So this has been rich in football tradition there. Best wins. We do this for all the group of 5. And this is what I mean by Ohio packs a punch. They last season, you don't have to look that far. Matt Campbell thought he could grab a cheap dub at Peden Stadium. No, not so fast.
Might have been a little controversy over a field goal that might have went in.
Probably should have went to overtime. Probably should have went to overtime, but this has been the case. I mean, Les Miles thought, hey, we could take the Kansas Jayhawks into Peden Stadium. No. Dave Wanstead was like, hey, this is a good Pitt team. We're gonna go into Peden Stadium not so fast. And same with UCF back in the day. And then on the road, they've earned it. How about that win at Penn State? Woo! There? 24-14. They've beaten Illinois, Kentucky, Minnesota. Watch out when you put these Bobcats on the schedule. That's all I'm saying. Which one's the best one?
I mean, that at Penn State game, it's got to be in Happy Valley, Beaver Stadium. Come on. There's no way Penn State should be losing to Ohio at home. I forget. Was that the after Paterno? Was that the O'Brien years?
It's fringe. It's either one of the last Paterno years or one of the O'Brien years.
Yeah. Okay. Either way, fantastic win.
Yeah. And what do you think of that logo? That logo is fire. I want this one back.
Well, it's better than the one before it, but I still don't know.
This one's intense. I like this. I'm intimidated. I'm intimidated here on this episode with this thing in my face. The offense a season ago. Look, and this is another thing we should hit on. He won 10 games, and his starting quarterback, who was one of the best quarterbacks in college football, got injured and out for the whole season. So these numbers, I think, would have been way better had you had Curtis Rourke and the breaks. So
they would have beat San Diego State in the opener last year if Rourke didn't go down.
They probably would have won the MAC. Let's be honest. Like they probably would have, which is unfortunate because they haven't won the MAC in a while. They've had like winning seasons every year. They've gotten the MAC championships, but they haven't won the MAC in a while. 82nd in scoring per game, 24.3 points per game with the backup QB, 95th in yards, 93rd in passing, 82nd in rushing, all top 7 in the MAC with the backup quarterback a good chunk of the season. Impressive to me. Very impressive. Now, the problem is for this season, you're only returning 2. But you are returning the most important name in college football, Parker Titsworth, on the offensive line.
He could have went anywhere, but he decided to stay in Athens.
You're goddamn right. All right, because he's getting the tits worth of women there on the streets there in Athens. At least you got 2 on the offensive line. It'd be worse if you're bringing back just like a receiver and a running back or something. And don't Gianni Spektic is back at the kicker spot. That's a lot of production to lose. And look, this is my point too. On like, I've had, we do these Maction episodes that do really well. And you get sometimes you'll get these haters of like, why are you highlighting a MAC game? Thinking it's not like legit college football. Well, if that's the case, then why did every goddamn player at Ohio go to they're all starting in like the Power 5 or playing on Power 5 programs. Curtis Rourke, and these are the breaks, is now starting quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers. CJ Harris, their backup quarterback, is now a quarterback with the California Golden Bears. Their star running back, Cy Bangora, is at Minnesota now. O'Shawn Allison, by the way, this is what I'm confused about, because I actually remember him in DFS a few times. He heads out to the Governors of Austin Peay in the FCS. Why not stay?
I thought he was an FBS, caliber player. I don't think he needed to level down. Yeah, maybe I was surprised at that.
The Governors got a little NIL money or something. What's going on there? Quintel Quinn, great name, a great fucking name. There's only one bastard that would do that to me. Quintel Quinn, Texas Southern. And then look, star wide receiver. How many times in DFS did I load up Jacoby Jones? He heads out to UCF. Miles Cross, their other receiver, goes to Indiana. Tyler Walton, you two-time and son of a gun, staying in conference and going to Eastern Michigan. And then doing the Ohio State. I was a guest on the Ohio State of Mind podcast. Shout out to that. Listen to that if you get a chance. They're really happy with Kek Merrick there, the tight end coming in. So he goes to Ohio State. Also, the other tight end, Tyler Foster, goes to Oklahoma State, who played for the Big 12 championship. Oh, and your starting left tackle from a year ago, Cedric Rhodes, goes to Rutgers, and Kurt Daniker goes to Baylor. Holy shit. I mean, how many starters? This is what I mean. This is why I hate the average human being, because they just think, oh, because you slap a name on it with an Ohio State sticker or a Minnesota Golden Gopher sticker, that makes it legit. They were all starting they're all starting in the MAC a year ago, and a lot of these guys are going to be starting in the Big 10 this upcoming season, or the Big 12. So
unbelievable. I mean, look at like the wide receiver depth or the tight end depth, or even at quarterback. And the person you didn't mention who graduated was Sam Wiglu's, another player in DFS we constantly went to, their leading receiver last year. So absolutely killed in the portal. It's going to be a little tough this year. It's going to be a rebuilding season.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know of a team that got hit worse. Maybe, like, I'm trying to think.
I know you guys did the FAU preview. FAU got hit pretty hard, but this is maybe the worst we've seen since the transfer portal. Really, and was it 2-3 seasons we've been doing these previews?
Yeah.
I mean, how a mid-major, if you will, to use a basketball term, how they rebound from from this kind of losses here, it'll be tough to see. I mean, we can go position by position if you want, but right there, that graphic shows you everybody they lost and shows you what team they went to, meaning the caliber of player they were.
Yeah. And now I will say, a year ago, they brought in Parker Navarro from UCF. He is penciled in to be their starting quarterback. He played 5 games at UCF. I thought he was a solid QB.
He hasn't done much. I mean, he's only has 22 attempts, the 2 years at Ohio. And 16 of those came in the bowl game, where he actually did lead Ohio with to victory over Georgia Southern. He didn't play that well. He went 11 of 16 for 120 and a touchdown. We'll see if he's really a starting quarterback.
I think he can be solid. I think I'm when I was going through this, I was like, I think he can be the next guy there.
Well, he better be, because behind him, there's not much. There's a JUCO transfer and a true freshman, so he's the guy.
Yeah, don't get injured. But running back Anthony Tyus from Northwestern coming in. He's penciled in to start. They also got Ricky Hunt, a redshirt freshman they like.
Remember what Hunt did in that same bowl game? Hunt had a pretty funny season. He was a true freshman last year. He only played 1 game in the regular season. He had like 20 yards against Bowling Green in a blowout. So what does he do when he gets a starting nod in the bowl game? He goes 17 for 115 and 5 total touchdowns.
Well, they're in good hands.
Ohio always has good running backs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hunt actually starts.
Yeah, and I can just picture Georgia Southern's defensive coordinator and Clay Helton meeting at halftime saying, "The fuck is that?" Anyway, how about this guy? I'm familiar. If you subscribe to the FCS College Football Experience, Coleman Owen for Northern Arizona. This dude lit up the FCS over the past couple of years. Sneaky good get. They found their Cy Bangora, my friend, and Coleman Owen. And
well, again, he's gonna be needed big time because Ohio lost their top 7 pass catchers from a season ago.
I like this, and then bringing in how do I pronounce this? Iman Dennis there from Michigan and Ian Pugh from Illinois.
Yeah, I looked those guys up. I couldn't find any receptions in their college careers, so they were probably pretty far down on those depth charts. But still, I mean, you get someone from Michigan, a national champion. Why not?
Now I don't know that they're going to start either. We'll see because Coleman Owens, Rodney Harris, and Chase Hendricks there. Yeah. But at the tight end spot, Bruno, Jake Bruno comes in from St. Francis. Yes, that's a armed and dangerous poll. No one has any idea what I'm referring to. But St. Francis, the Red Flash, FCS transfer, and also Bo Blankenship. I could have swore they had a running back like 15, 20 years ago named Blankenship for Ohio that was good. I wonder if there's any relation. But he comes in from the Marshall Thundering Herd, and then they go deep sea diving on the offensive line. Trent Allen coming in from Davenport, and Tagana Cisse from the Idaho Vandals FCS playoff team. I know they got destroyed. There's no way we can say they won the portal when Curtis Rourke leaves and all those other guys. But I'm intrigued. Like coming into this, I thought I'm going to fade Ohio this year, right? And then I look and I go, okay, Parker Navarro, Tyus. Owen's a good wideout. I think of the other guys. And let me tell you, as much as I'm praising the MAC, the Big Sky is a really good football conference. So Coleman Owens played it in Northern Arizona in the Big Sky. Yeah. To like, it's not like you're playing in the Pioneer League. Like the Big Sky, I believe could jump up to the FBS and be fine. Right. So I think they're going to hit on some of those transfers.
They better. They better.
Yeah. So, and Titsworth, don't underestimate Titsworth coming back.
I mean, there are only 2 starters. We're on the offensive line, but then they bring in 2 from the portal. So maybe the O line can be a strength of the team and kind of be the rock of the offense while the other positions kind of learn their roles and who's going to be starting and who's going to be the number 1 receiver and the number 1 running back and how's Navarro going to be a quarterback. But obviously there's a ton of question marks.
And keep an eye on Mason Williams, freshman tight end that they're excited about too. Folks, we're going to talk the defensive side of the ball in a second here, but I want to tell you the Ohio Bobcat 2024 season preview episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times the amount of money you enter, or you can play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Yes, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes, folks. $15 million in prizes, but they actually have college football best ball. I've been waiting for this for about 20 years. NC Nick, Moneyline Mac dropped an episode on this very feed. Go check it out. But they did a best ball draft. We're going to have DFS episodes and everything coming soon with Underdog Fantasy featured. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. So sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Yes, Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Don't have a trip booked yet for Vegas this weekend. The Ultimate Contest weekend is going on. It's a great time to go out. You can hang with my friends from the Sports Gambling Podcast, Sean Stacking the Money Green and Ryan Real Money Kramer, as well as the Bet Detective, the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, CJ Sullivan, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd to August 24th. Also, use the promo code SGP15 to save you 15% off your hotel room for this weekend. Sign up in person at Circus Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP and get a free hat as well. All right, back talking Ohio Bobcat football. Love the chat rocking along. We need more FCS schools to jump up, the ones who can actually compete. I do think like I like the FCS, but at the same time, like I'm with you that like South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Montana State should be FBS. And
in the Mountain West, that'd be fire.
Yeah, there's a few other ones that have won so much that I think they should, like Villanova. And I'm also one that believes that like every state in the continental US should have representation. So like Vermont doesn't have a football team. They ended in the 70s. They should start one and beat FBS. Maine should be in the FBS as well. And same with New Hampshire. Delaware is already coming next season. We're almost there.
Well, look, the MAC reached out to UMass. Maybe they want some northeastern expansion. Maybe they should look towards Villanova in Maine, something like that.
That'd be cool. New Hampshire, Villanova, Maine, Rhode Island's good as well. Or the Bryant Bulldogs there in Rhode Island as well. Defensively here, they were awesome last year, and that's why their defensive coordinator is now in Memphis. All right. Not only did they get rated in the portal, their coaching staff got rated too. 6th in the nation in scoring per game, just giving up 15.8 points per game. That was top in the MAC. 4th in the nation in yards. That was top in the MAC. 14th in pass defense, 2nd in the MAC, and 7th in rush defense, 1st in the MAC. This is a top 10 defense, NC Nick.
They only allowed more than 20 points in 2 out of their 12 regular season games. They were a fantastic defense a season ago.
Yeah, and we'll see what can happen here. Obviously, breaking in a new DC. They do have 3 starters back, a little more than the offense. All right. Bradley Weaver on the D line, and then in the secondary, both safeties back, Austin Brawley and Adonis Williams, and punter Jack Wilson. The special teams is going to be phenomenal this year. They're kicker and punter back. Man, 5 returning starters overall. They lost their star defensive lineman, all MAC first team, Ryan Buell, to the Colorado Buffaloes. Coach Prime saying we coming. They also lost Kie Thompson to Pat Narduzzi and Pitt. We don't like using the portal, but when we have to, we'll grab a star linebacker. Cornerback Torrey Cox also headed out to Illinois. I think he's projected to start at Illinois. Also punter Jared Wheatley heading out to Duke. Buddy, this team just got they got their ass totally kicked.
Yeah, I mean, look how many starters from last year's team are now at P4 schools. How many is it? I didn't count. Is it 8? You know, something like that. It's around there. It's 3 on defense. How many on offense? It was probably about. I mean, I don't. Yeah, you can go back if you want, but I mean, you're talking
Rourke, potentially Bangora. I think he's going to get some reps. I think
he's a starter for Ohio at least, and he's at the P4 level now. So that's
Jacoby Jones. I think is starting. Cross, I'm not sure. Maybe
I'm not necessarily saying who's going to start at the P4 level. I'm saying who started for Ohio that is now at a P4 school. Yeah, I think that number is probably up around 8 or so. Just think how good Ohio would be if all those guys came back.
That's true, and that's the downside of this portal era. Is like, you know, they could be a playoff team this year.
Yeah,
if everybody came back.
For sure.
Here's what's hilarious. And I think this is going to be a question that you'll ask yourself in the future. Nathan Rourke is going to Indiana, and they'll probably go 6-6 or 5-7 or at best 7-5. You know, Ryan Buell in Colorado, they're not projected to win the Big 12. You know, none of these teams really, with the exception of the tight end going to Ohio State, they're not really projected to go anywhere. So it's like that. You could ask yourself, if I come back, I could be a part of it. Like, I actually think Ohio, if they returned everybody, would be one of like 5 teams that could make the playoff. Now, do you think that will at some point, like, that will be more of an incentive to?
I think if you're a 20-year-old kid and you got a chance to make a couple $100,000, that is very hard to pass up.
We just need the NIL collective at Ohio. What's going on? They got to have some breweries in the fucking area. All right. What's going on? Some pizza joints. People eat. Come on now. Don't just give all that money to Buckeyes.
Exactly. Come on now. Build that thing up.
Yeah, let's go. They did go out in the portal. They tried to stay aggressive. Sin Brennan coming in from San Diego State. They played San Diego State a year ago. They noted, hey, this guy's not bad. Let's bring him in the DN. CJ Doggett comes in from the Cincinnati Bearcats. Ben McNobe from the Fighting Hawks of North Dakota. FCS playoff team as well. Marcel Walker Burgess, Nevada. I think he started for Nevada last season in the Mountain West. Reese Collier from UAB. Blake Leak from Bucknell. Jacob Prochet from Coastal Carolina. Mike Mack coming in from Wisconsin. Dustin Johnson from northern Colorado. And then long snapper Colby Garfield, making a mistake, but coming in from the East Carolina Pirates. It's always great to get some ECU talent in there.
Special teams talent.
Well, I don't know with Mike Houston,
right?
Kicker Jacob Lewis also coming. You taking Cy Bangura, you sons of bitches? All right, Minnesota, we'll take Jacob Lewis from you. Lewis isn't projected to start, ironically though. Yeah, they didn't win the portal.
No, they didn't. I like what they did on defense, though. They definitely tried to fill some gaps. You know, they signed a few more people on defense and offense, but there's no replacing a bunch of starters.
Yeah. It's just hard to do here. We're gonna talk win total and go game by game on the schedule. But before I do that, I want to let you know the Bobcat preview is brought to you by Rhythm. Football season is here, and the college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model, or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting for you. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists and quants. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. NC Nick, Bronco Mendenhall in New Mexico are getting 10.5 points now.
It's going up. It was at what, did it open at like 8 or 8.5 or so?
No, opened at 4.5. Like back in July.
Okay.
And now this thing's at 10.5. I will take those points all day.
I think I agree with you.
Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. So if you're thinking about going out to a Cleveland Indian games or a Cincinnati Red game, pull out that Game Time app, all right? With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. But look, it's not all MLB. It's anything. If you're going to go see Chappelle at the local theater, right? Pull out the Game Time app, right? If you're going to go to Peden Stadium, like I said, one of the more underrated college football stadiums in America. So if you live in the vicinity and you haven't checked it out, I would encourage you to. All right. So pull out that Game Time app though. Take the guesswork out of buying those tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back talking Ohio Bobcat football. Kay in the chat saying Delaney Crawford, converted wide receiver from the quarterback spot. Watch out for him in that name. Athleticism is crazy. He was a UVA quarterback last year. There we go. Didn't that UVA? Who was that quarterback that switched to wide receiver? Was that Wicks a couple years ago?
Was he a quarterback?
I think he originally was a quarterback.
Dontavian?
I think so. Or maybe it was the guy before that. But they've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
Mendenhall did that though.
So
it was Keaton Thompson, the Mississippi State quarterback that transferred in.
Yes. He was pretty good there too. Yeah. So watch out for Crawford here. I like it.
I like it too. The win total 5.5. NC Nick, are you surprised at that number?
I am surprised because I thought it was at 6.5.
Did I mess this up?
Let me check and see. Unless it's been moving here lately.
Did I mess this up? Certainly possible because I made this at 5 a.m. when my son woke me up.
Let's take a quick look here. What kind of juice did you have on that? Do you have it listed or no?
I think I wrote it. I know I wrote it down here. Oh no, it is 6.5. You're right.
Okay.
The over is plus 130. The under is what? The under is I actually think I didn't write the under down. But so the over is plus 130.
Well, traditionally speaking, 6.5, that's a pretty low bar for the Ohio Bobcat football team. So you're thinking over, but then you see what they lost and all those starters, all those people that left via the portal. And you're saying, I can see why it's 6.5. Maybe that's a little high.
And excuse me, I put Sunbelt champ. I meant Mac.
We're all over the place.
My apology. They are plus 1,000 to win the MAC. They are plus 20,000 to make the 12-team playoff. and plus 20 or 200,000 to win the Natty. What do you think of this old logo?
No, I think they're actually good with. I think their previous logos weren't so great.
Well, but the artists back then.
True.
It was a different day and age. They were going to they were going to World War II, and then all of a sudden it's like, can you draw me something for this logo?
They're hand drawn. They don't have all these computer graphics these days.
Yeah. So 6.5 to win total. They open up as 17-point dogs at the Carrier Dome, that filthy dome there in New York. I think they're going to lose that game.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to take a little while for this team to get going. I think the team that finishes this season, that Bobcat squad will be a lot better than the team that starts it. A lot of young players will be on the field for Ohio.
Well, I am fascinated by this week 2 matchup because I had a really hard time projecting this. Much like Ohio, I think South Alabama has got like 5 starters returning or 6 starters returning. I lean South Alabama, but not by much. I would say, like, if I was setting this line, it'd be like South Bama minus 2.5.
Well, this game is absolutely huge to make a bowl, to hit an over. I mean, there's some really tough road games on this Ohio schedule, so they have to hold serve at home. And this game might be the most challenging of all the home matchups. South Alabama has at least been better than every other team they play at home the last 2 or 3 years. But South Alabama, like you said, loses a lot too. Give me Ohio here. They get the win. There's always some magic in Athens.
I'm on South Bama. I think, there's a little more continuity on the team. Major Applewhite's a new head coach, but he was their offensive coordinator a year ago. So I think the continuity with the offense will be the difference there. 0-2, and then the Morgan State Bears come in, who should have beat Akron. Oh my God, that game was ridiculous. They're running out the clock. It was the Herm Edwards situation.
Yeah. Morgan
State winning the game. It literally could just, they did like a power sweep. They could have just really sat on it. It punted the ball. They would have got the ball back with like 10 seconds, and the running back fumbles and Akron takes it back for a touchdown. So watch out. But I got Ohio grabbing their first win here, going 1-2.
Yep. They got this one 2-1.
Then they head to Lexington, Kentucky, Commonwealth Stadium. They've given Kentucky some close games, man. I think they beat them one time, but
yeah, Kentucky was on your graphic earlier, but this is not the Ohio team that's going to go on the road and beat a major conference opponent. This is an L.
So 1-3, and then Joe Moorhead and the Akron Zips come in. Could it be a big year for Joe Moorhead? Not so fast at Peden Stadium. I'm taking Ohio to get that second win. 2-3.
I got it. Yeah, I think they're a better team, even with all the losses than Akron, and they're at home. They're going to win this 3-2.
Then you get a bye week, and then you head to Mount Pleasant to take on the fire up Central Michigan Chippewas. They need this one, but I lean Central Michigan.
I think you have to. On the road in MAC play, Central Michigan is more experienced, probably more talented, also well coached. You got to give it to the Chips.
That puts me at 3 and what is that? Is that my Syracuse, South Alabama, Kentucky? 3-4 or no 2-4?
Yeah,
2-4.
I'm 3-3 midway through.
Then you got the Battle of the Bricks rivalry, but it's in Oxford and they are loaded this year. They're not winning this.
No, especially the second half of a back-to-back. This is one of the tough road games I mentioned. This is also an L.
I mean, folks, if you don't know, by the way, so you got to get over there and check out the Battle of the Bricks rivalry. If you're in the area, this is an old school rivalry. I just want to key in on the history of this thing. This thing's been being played for 116 years. 116 years these teams have been playing. It's perfect. Get on out to that. Then they are hosting the Buffalo Bulls on October 26th. This is a win.
I think that's a win also. Another first-year head coach, going to Ohio. Bobcats get this one.
So for you're almost at a bowl game there, right?
I'm at 4-4.
I'm at 3-5. The good news is you get a bye week, and then weeknight Maction starts. You're heading to Dick Stadium to take on Kent State, and I am not convinced. I just saw the news Kent State's going to be starting freshman quarterback this year too. Give me Ohio to win on the road at Dick Stadium there. for win number 4 for me and potentially win number 5 for you.
I think it is win number 5. I think Kent State is still the worst team in the conference by a considerable margin, and Ohio can get this one. They win their first road game here.
And they come back home and take on Eastern Michigan and Chris Creighton. Give me an upset here. I think Eastern Michigan is going to be a bowl team, but I think Ohio is going to get that win. So give me a win number 5 right here.
Again, you got a lot of winnable home games. If you're looking at Ohio's schedule as a whole, yes, there are some tough ones on the road that they were probably going to lose anyway. So you could argue that you might as well have them on the road. And then the more 50-50 type games, have them at home. And maybe you pull up those W's. I also have them beating Eastern Michigan.
Yes. Then they head to the Glass Bowl, another great stadium, one of the other great stadiums in the MAC, or one of the other best stadiums, I should say. Check out the Stadium Heads podcast for more on that. We talk about the history of college football stadiums, and we go conference by conference within the FBS and FCS. So subscribe to that, or just go to youtube.com/@StadiumHeadsSGPN. I have them losing at Toledo. How about you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the two best teams in the conference are probably Miami of Ohio and Toledo. They're both road games for Ohio. Usually when Ohio is in the hunt to win the conference, that's a bad thing. But like I said, it's almost a good thing here because Ohio's not ready to compete for the championship. So might as well play those games on the road if you're going to lose them anyway. They do drop the game to Toledo.
And then they're home to Ball State. Now, here's what I like about this one. There's a shot Mike News fired by now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to beat Ball State and go bowling. Ohio, look, this team knows how to get to bowl games. And, I just think they're going to get to a bowl, whether it's this, maybe they upset Central Michigan on October 10th, or maybe they upset one of these other schools. Maybe they get South Alabama on September 7th there. This is a bowl team. I will take the under though, because I think they're a 6-6 team this year, but I see them in a bowl game in December. How about you?
I also have them beating Ball State. So for me, that's 7-5. As long as they can win all their home games, and all those games, they're going to be either favored or a slight dog, and then grab one away game, most likely Kent State, and you get to 7. There's the path. But this is why that South Alabama game is going to be so critical, because there's not much margin for error here. Drop that game, and I agree they're 6-6. I'm going to say 7-5. I'm going to say over. I do root for Ohio. They're my MAC school, but I don't feel great about this whatsoever. I'm not actually betting this. There's no way. It's hard to bet Ohio with the over this year, but I'm going to have trust in Auburn, have trust in the program and the culture, and give me the over.
What about that plus 1,000 to win the championship?
The MAC championship?
Yeah.
No, they're not ready to compete.
Hear me out though. Hang on. I'm going to pull up some odds right now to make the MAC championship. They're plus 320. All you would need is to just take care of that Kent State game, but take care of if you can upset Central Michigan, you might be in a spot to make it, because Miami and Ohio and Toledo play each other. Toledo also plays Bowling Green, which a lot of people have as a bowl team this year. 2 losses might be good enough to get you to that game, NC Nick. No more divisions in the MAC.
So what I have them. I have them with a pretty nice MAC schedule. I have them with
you only
losses.
have them 3 losses. That's what I'm saying. So one upset there: Central Michigan, Miami, Ohio, Toledo.
And if they don't get upset at home by somebody like Eastern Michigan or Buffalo or something. Yeah. So I would hold off on betting any Ohio futures this year. Let's see how all those youngsters do. Let's see how the new quarterback is. A lot of question marks, but I'm excited to watch him this year because of the unknown. I want to see these young guys. I want to see that running back Ricky Hunt to see if he can, that bowl game was a flash in the pan, or if he's their next, go-to guy at running back. So I'm excited for the season, but I think it's going to be more of a rebuilding one.
What's the best case scenario? 8-4?
Yeah. And that's maybe they get that Central Michigan game. Cause like I said, at Syracuse, at Kentucky, at Miami of Ohio, at Toledo, I don't see them winning those games. But maybe they can beat Central Michigan, or maybe they can knock off Miami of Ohio in a crazy rivalry game, So I'll say best case scenario 8-4. Worst case scenario, though, what do you think that is?
Yeah, worst case scenario is you lose to Syracuse, you lose to South Alabama, you lose to Kentucky. I mean, could Joe Moorhead and Akron actually get them? It's year 3 for Moorhead. Maybe they're ahead of
possible.
and then you're sitting there at 1-4 on the bye week. I mean, worst case scenario to me is 2-10, 3-9, something like that.
Yeah, and that's why you really can't bet the over, because there's a greater chance they could be very far under the line, but only a slight chance they can be over that line. So maybe my fandom is coming in here a little bit when I pick the over, but this team here, yeah, I think there's a chance they could be, if things don't come together, it might be a long season.
We shall see. I'm on the under. I hope I'm wrong. I love this program. All right. I know you're a fan, but I enjoy the program. I want them to be successful.
Personally, I don't think Parker Titsworth is going to allow a bad season to happen at Ohio.
He will not. And I guarantee you that is why they're bowling. All right. And go to that Myrtle Beach Bowl. All right. Cause I might show up to it.
Dude, if they go bowling, that's a successful season.
Yes, it is.
With all they lost. I mean, shit. I think Auburn might deserve MAC Coach of the Year if they go bowling with how much talent and experience they lost.
And then when you think about it, with Ricky Hunt being a sophomore this year, Parker Navarro's a junior, so hopefully he'd be back. Rodney Harris at the wideout spot, they're planning to start as a sophomore. Chase Hendricks, sophomore. So I mean, they have a lot of guys that are young. Mason Williams, freshman tight end. So it's a good build. They need to hold on to that though. So if you're a local brewery in Athens, you're a pizza shop, if you're goddamn Kirby Vacuum or something over there. Well, Kirby's probably too big, right? But
I believe I stayed at the Days Inn in
hey, Days
Athens,
Inn.
Ohio. Come on, man.
Cut back on the bagels that you're throwing away every morning. All right. Kick the Ohio Bobcats some money. Let's get it going. This is America, damn it. And this program is a perfect representation of the most American sport of them all. It's not baseball. It's college football. All right. It goes back longer than the MLB. So, folks, let's go. NC Nick's on the over. Maybe you're buying into what he's selling. Give him a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on the under. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Let us know your thoughts, even in the comments section of YouTube. You know what I mean? YouTube.com/The College Experience. Obviously, the College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. But let us know your thoughts. We're breaking down all 134 teams, and we're in the final stretch here before the season kicks. So get on over there, YouTube.com/The College Experience. It's also the hub for all of our stuff. The College Basketball Experience. Oh man, big fan of the Ohio basketball program too. Remember Gary Trent?
Oh yeah. The Shack of the Mac.
Shack of the Mac. We love Mac basketball as well. When the basketball season goes live, we're live every single night of the season. Also, remember they upset UVA in the tournament not that long ago.
That's right.
Was it Vanderplas?
Yeah. He was transferred to UVA.
UVA, ironically, those bastards.
Right.
Those bastards. Tony Bennett. When the season goes live, we're talking college basketball every single night of the season. Even in the off season, we got interviews, including your very own basketball coach there. So hop on over there. Also the College Baseball Experience. All right. Check out that podcast. All of those come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. Also check out the Stadium Heads podcast. I mentioned this. We talk about the great stadiums out there in college football, the history of the game of college football, and why it's so great. And it's like our national parks. We got to protect these fucking stadiums. All right. College football has so many great chapels and institutes of just everything that is great about the sport of football. And the MAC still has a bunch of them. So check it out. Stadium Heads podcast, youtube.com/@StadiumHeadsSGPN. You can also get that podcast on Spotify, iTunes, whatever. And check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Just dropped our Phil Steele interview and our college football playoff projections today. Check out all that good stuff. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience. By the way, later today, we do have the Miami, Ohio Redhawks on the slate. Battle of the Bricks. All right. So check that out. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot.